My name is Dhiraj Shah. I'm President and CEO at Avaap Incorporated. Avaap is an IT services organization, and where we differentiate ourselves really is around the services we provide around our customers. The foundation of our company is around what I call the product, the people, and the process. The people meaning the people that work at this organization and have shown the growth, and the people we work with, our customers. The process is really we carry an outcome-based approach. That approach has helped differentiate us from the rest of organizations that are competitively in this space, and has allowed us to build some products which are turnkey solutions and allow our customers to take advantage of automating their business processes. We're based out of Islin in New Jersey. We currently employ about 30 people, a lot of them domestic in our local region, and we have some solid goals for growth.
So what are those goals?
Sure. Some of the goals include internally to empower people to think like an entrepreneur. There are some basic fundamentals if you think about as an entrepreneur, and which you lose when you kind of get caught in the 9 to 5. My past was I worked at Johnson & Johnson, and I worked at another organization that's a software company. And going there day to day, I was losing my ability to think creatively. And one of the things that we've done is really enable our people to not be caught in that 9 to 5 box. People have different work hours. Moms go and attend their kids' soccer games at 3 o'clock if they have to. But we really encourage creativity and innovation. Something that's at the core fundamentals. So our goal really is to empower that across the entire organization and bring it into our customers.
So if you saw that sort of tamped down, how do you reinvigorate that?
Fear plays a major role. As we know, as we get older, we become more vulnerable. So I think as you get used to a system, you lose that ability to creatively think. And the way you get past that is, again, changing the environment, changing the culture. That doesn't just, having parameters. So we have a very good human resources initiative that really rewards behavior, your behavioral attitude towards innovation, because that's a lifeline of our organization. We've come up with 7 new innovative products in a product that's saturated with companies that do the same thing. As you might have heard, IT services, there's a million companies that do that. But every employee that comes out with those ideas is an entrepreneur, and we reward that behavior. So they get encouraged, they want to take that forward, and they believe that, I don't want to contain myself in that box. I really think that everybody has creativity, but it's just recognizing, encouraging it as an entrepreneur, and that's a part as a leader, as a manager, so the people in an organization are able to drive that behavioral attitude deep within the organization.
Let's talk a little bit about you, and I want to just sort of get your startup story.
I come from a background of entrepreneurs. Maybe it's part of where I was born. I was raised. I was born and raised in India. We belong to a sect that is, as if you are aware of history, old Indian architecture was the first that kind of segregated duties. You had the warriors, so ours was the business acumen. So it's something that was always inherent. When I came here and I took a job, the first thing is it's seen as a negative. You never work for somebody else. Getting to be in a big organization and losing your ability to make a change, right, was something that was eating me away. After spending 12 years in corporate America, I was going through a lot of internal challenge. On one hand, being used to a paycheck that I survived on, and on another hand, my internal drive to go out and do something that was visionary and something that I believed in. What really made it happen was a constant nagging to my wife, and one day she just said, "You know what, I think you should just go do it. And if you're not going to be able to succeed, we know that you tried and it's behind you." It was a self-conviction, belief, the moral support of the family, and started something that now obviously is one of the best decisions that I ever made.
It occurs to me as we talk to different entrepreneurs here, in some ways it's easier to be the struggling entrepreneur than to be the successful entrepreneur. So what happens when you find yourself growing at this rate? That's a wonderful rate, but it's pushing you to grow. I mean, people are asking you, the Kauffman Foundation is saying, hey, that's a great job. How are you going to get bigger? It's wonderful that you've got this many employees. How are you going to double that?
One of the things really is finding the right leaders. We become habituated as entrepreneurs to run everything within an organization. We want to have control at every single portion of our business, and we don't trust. And in order to continue to scale that growth, I think a key part is going to be finding the right set of leaders to take this to the next level, who think like you, who follow the same principles that you're laying down. I think if you do those things, it becomes natural. What I want to be careful about in our organization, and big message I picked up here, is not getting lost in just that rat race of growth.
You talk about blending where you bring your culture, and then what that means for America and entrepreneurship, really the American dream. I mean, that's what it's about, and it's through you that lives on, and it needs to continue.
Absolutely. I mean, God bless America. I think we are part of the greatest country in the world. If I hadn't got an opportunity to be here, I don't think the success I've achieved would be possible anywhere else in the world. Free enterprise is something that really is heart blood of our country. And I think, that's something that, we encourage. I think going back to your question about where the immigration comes in, and I think as first generation immigrants, I think you go back and trace history, whether it was coming back from England in the 1800s, the Irish, the Italians. The first generation always works very hard. Tom Friedman in his book, last chapter, resonates with me, clearly talks about this. He says, when I was growing up, my parents told me, don't waste that plate on your food, because somebody in India and China is dying of hunger. He says, I tell my kids, make sure you're paying focus and attention in school, because somebody in India and China is going to take your job away. And that's the issue we're faced with today. I think the motivation that we come with to the country, and we have, because we've seen the life that's so hard. We see what you have to go through just to earn a dollar. How much labor goes beyond that. How many people that are not doing well. We take a lot of things for granted in America. And I think that's the big difference I see. And part of it really is, a lot of our business is local, is fostering growth here. We export services. So we service clients in Middle East and bringing in revenue coming into the United States. If I'm around people that have that right spirit, it will change. Coming back into the immigration, the first generation, that's a natural thing you'll never change. That's what's really driving our economies here. But the bigger question is, and I don't have the answer to, is how do we change that? How do we make kids who are going to school here focus on math and physics instead of a beer festival? Not in the wrong sense, but really. But that's a much bigger challenge as a society that we face today.
Are there moments that you remember that maybe with another associate or client that sort of you keep with you, that you carry with you, and you think, this is what sustains me?
Absolutely. I mean, day in and day out, the thing that takes me home now is not just the financial rewards, but really the changes in lives, right? I work with a very close group of people. We are all pretty much family to each other. And we celebrate great times together. I look at business not purely from a business perspective, but really as an extension of your social values. And I think those social values can have a tremendous impact if we inculcate that into our corporate world.
Very nice.
Thank
Good
you
job.
very much.